early, and now we see probably a turn 1 Daisy come down or a Merfolk.
There's the Merfolk. The Merfolk. The
Merfolk.
dreaded Merfolk. As a Ruby Amethyst player, I hate seeing the Merfolk on turn 1 because I like my cards and I don't want to get rid of them. You know what I mean?
You try red blue when you can't deal with it till like turn 6 anyway. So
You have Tipo. What do you mean?
we have a single Tipo, and sometimes they bounce our Tipo, and we just look sad.
Darryl definitely not getting off to the start that he wants, though. Nothing on board. However, we were able to ramp up with that Azurite Sea. Baymax is going to enter the board exerted.
I love that new card that he's playing. It, a little bit of spice. We like seeing some of these new cards.
Yeah, and Aggro's taking over. Aggro's doing pretty well. We'll see what Darryl's able to get onto the board. We have a Chernabog to try and contest this. Another character, goes for the Merfolk and just gets rid of it right off rip and gets rid of the Hades. It's an uninkable. It's not getting played for a while. It's not the greatest tempo card in this matchup regardless. I mean, what are you going to Hades? A Chernabog, I guess? Or sorry, not a Chernabog, a Merfolk? Save you a card on the discard at least.
Yeah, exactly. And now, Alex with an interesting decision could take the large strength 3/2 body into that Madam Mim, but instead decides to quest it out. We'll see what Alex decides to play here. Down on ink, but ahead on the board and ahead on lore. Oh, Moana!
Yeah, the Moana is interesting. It is definitely a card that can be pretty sticky. It's a 3/4. Darryl would love to trade into that instead of the Baymax. We'll see what Darryl decides to do. Alex is only at 4 right now. I don't think you run the Fox into the Baymax. You let something else take care of that so the Fox can handle the Moana. But look in Alex's hand. The You Came Back sitting there for the terrifying double quest potential, which could just be backbreaking, especially if you're not expecting it.
Oh, and we also see that Go-Go in the back of Alex's hand with the Rapunzel. So we got some interesting lines that Alex could have some gas for days to kind of keep the game going.
Darryl decides to sing Friends here, get a couple cards back into his hand. Not a bad move. I mean, like I said, you don't want to challenge into that Baymax. You want to challenge into that Moana, so might as well use the Fox to get a couple more cards. I doubt the Baymax is going to go into the Fox.
Oh, that Donald bodyguard. We can see it kind of protect that board for a little bit longer.
Oh. And there's
Daisy Duck finally comes down here. Another 3 ink exerted for the Donald bodyguard. Giving an extra 1 lore to another character. Looks like he's going to elect for Baymax. And now a quest for 5. And if you're Alex, you're doing exactly what you want to do. It feels like you're playing the more aggro version of Emerald Amber. And Darryl has to come up with some answers here.
Yeah, for sure. Hitting that Donald is a good place to start with the Fox, but I also think Darryl has a crab for the Moana.
And I also see something a little spicy in Darryl's hand, which is that popsicle over there.
Oh, but he does have the Fox.
I'm curious to know if he's running the bells and 4 popsicles that we see floating around here.
Darryl bounces the rabbit back, but he did miss a lore there.
Mm-hmm. Was excited to take out that Moana. I can't blame him.
Yeah, I get that way when I'm playing the bounce package. Sometimes I'm just like, bah! Oh, wait, I should have quested with that before bouncing.
Oh, we see a Tiana in hand. Maybe we'll see that come down. Can be punishing a little bit, especially to all these foxes and snakes that we want to be trading with.
Yeah, the Fox got so much value there. Took out 2 characters, sang a song, drew you a card with your rabbit. That's the power of the bounce package, and I know Brent knows all about that.
Mm-hmm. We Ruby Amethyst players love that bounce package, even though it's looking like it's about to get eclipsed this set with all the Sapphire nonsense.
Yeah, I guess Darryl's got the right idea. Just play the bounce package with the Sapphire nonsense, right?
Right.
Turn 1 Bell or Merlin's. Why not both?
Yeah. And there we do see the Bell, which is kind of big. A free character that's a 3/3 and contest the board is huge. And Alex is kind of running out of cards here. Darryl needs to make sure he can cleanly remove this Daisy and don't give it the option to heal with the Rapunzel. We'll see what Darryl's able to do here, exerting 4, maybe not.
Right, but that Tiana being a problem because whenever a character is challenged,
Yeah, she's
I forgot
exerted,
it
right?
has to be exerted first.
Yeah, you pay the Tiana tax.
And that,
So not the yeah.
having the U came back in hand just shows that, he could go up to 17 next turn if he wanted to. Make things a little bit difficult for Darryl to deal with if Darryl is not able to clear out this Daisy this turn. We see the 3 damage put on it. I can't really see the rest of his hand right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hades to Tiana, okay.
Ah.
That
Interesting.
Rapunzel's gonna get a lot here, a lot of value.
Yep, Darryl not playing around the Rapunzel.
Oh, he's shaking his head. He probably is thinking about it right now.
Probably realized it, and at least could have cost them 2 lore if they had to challenge with it.
And yet, I mean, there is a point to be made that maybe when you're this far behind, it's maybe the better play anyway, because you gotta start eliminating some threats and maybe just hoping that there's no Rapunzel in hand. Yeah, make them have it, exactly. Especially when you're 11-0 and it's about to become 13-0.
Yeah.
Oh, Anala. Haven't seen that too much of that recently, but I guess with all these bells going around, we need some better Rapunzel targets.
Gets a goat. And pass back over to Darryl. Interestingly enough, Darryl did not take the opportunity to get the free bell on the last turn. But maybe
I wonder
valuing
why.
the popsicle for a potential go-go situation. If he wants to heal one of his characters that are going to challenge in to prevent Go-Go from gaining more lore.
Yeah, and starting to see that Blurple might be a little bit of an underdog to an Emerald Amber deck just because of how many high willpower characters Emerald Amber tends to have.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. And here the snake does have the 2. We'll see if the popsicle is popped to prevent a potential 2 coming down from Go-Go. We'll see what Darryl elects to do. He has a Bell, a Diablo, a Friends. I can't quite tell what those other cards there on the right are. Maybe a
Elsa? I think I see an Elsa over there.
5.
And a goat, perhaps. The one that he picked up off
correct.
the Daisy. Still missing one card there. He does go opt for that heal. Is playing around that Go-Go. But also just want to maintain a board presence, right? He knows his only out is going to be able to consistently challenge the board. And he has to keep that presence and pressure going.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Darryl, I think next game definitely needs to find that turn 1 Bell. That would be the card you want to see against these sort of aggro, aggressively slanted decks. It's just such a big body that can challenge the early boards so well. But unfortunately didn't find it this game, and now he's staring at 3 more lore with a full hand on the side of the aggro player, which you hate to see.
Mm-hmm. And 16-1, I mean, without a lot of hard removal on Darryl's side with the Blurple deck, really, I mean, Hades being the only thing, maybe if you have some let it goes, it's
Oh, is that
Here comes
the lady?
the lady. She's going to put a couple cards back into Alex's hand. I believe they have to be 2 cost or less.
Looks like it's going to be in Daisy and the Merfolk, I imagine. Or perhaps opting for the Baymax.
Does go for the Baymax. The Baymax, it's good. I mean, you have to take the Baymax out. It does come in exerted, which is the only thing I would question there. But it does challenge really well into the Amethyst cards, which most of them have 3 willpower. And you can see 3 of them on the board right now. All 3 have that 3 willpower. So the Baymax does trade really efficiently into them. It's basically removal when you're so far ahead on lore.
And this might just be over because he does have the You Came Back in hand. So if that Daisy survives, it's just quest, and that's all there is to it. But we do see an Elsa in hand, probably going to tap one of them down.
Goes for the lady.
careful not to leave enough damage, making sure Ignite gets nice clean trades there.
The Nala does no damage to the crackback. And they remove the Rapunzel, but Alex has it any way he wants it. He can double quest with the Daisy, play Go-Go. That's all she wrote for this game number 1.
And this was when Alex was on the draw. I'm scared to see what this deck does on the play. I don't have to be. I've been there, but still going to be pretty scary.
Yeah. Now Darryl, knowing he has to play around that Rapunzel a little bit better in the next match, I think once he's able to do that, could potentially navigate this matchup a little bit better. But a quick one right off the rip, and we are going into game number 2.
Wow. I feel like the game just started.
That was well. We've had some grindy games on stream. I feel a lot of Emerald Steel, Sapphire Steel, back and forths. So it might.
And this is round 4. Are these players both 3-0 right now?
I can take a quick look and actually give you the answer to that. Darryl, it looks like they were 2-1 coming into this.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so a lot on the line here.
Yeah, a lot on the line, kind of trying to fight for that bubble. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time to see kind of how this plays out, kind of the next few rounds.
Huh.
I wonder what Darryl Donaldson needs to do on the play here again. You know, what are his outs? How does he kind of go about kind of navigating this matchup any differently?
Yeah, I mean, him being able to be on the play and then establish. I mean, if he could go back in time, I'm sure he would elect to play the bell, get that bell down, because I think he had the opportunity at some point.
Right.
Getting the early large strength characters is going to be key, because Alex's deck looks like it's equipped with a lot of high willpower characters that are just going to take the damage to the face and then Rapunzel it away. So I'm assuming the counter is, less Diablos, more
foxes, crabs,
Chernobog's followers,
Yeah,
things that will be able to challenge.
Chernobogs, foxes, crabs, just chaining a bunch of foxes into each other, hoping to just kind of protect his board, keep himself healthy, and just deal with these threats.
Yeah. I mean, one other thing is the deck lists aren't open, I'm assuming, so Darryl had no idea what he was mulliganing for.
Right.
The altar, I'm sure, is changing absolutely right now, and he has a much clearer battle plan, so we'll see what that does.
Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of how it kind of continues from here. Darryl is, a pretty good player, has a list of accolades, so I'm sure he's going to make some good adjustments. And Alex, he really does play some of these spicy decks, and he pilots them well, as we see. He's thinking about his strategies, thinking about what needs to be done, and just executing his game plan.
I'm interested to see what else in Darryl's deck is different from set 6. Because aside from the bells, I don't think I saw a single other card that was from Archazia Island. So
They all got lost at sea. I think all we have here is the bell. She's the lone survivor on the island, fending them off.
A bit of insider information. He's got one Tamatoa in there, and I am happy to report that it is enchanted. So we might see a $500 card come onto the board here.
You're happy to see it. Happy as a clam, I might even add.
Yeah, there you go. Interesting for the Nala play instead of the Cursed Merfolk. I mean, Nala is going to get 2. Same as the Cursed Merfolk would get, right? But the Cursed Merfolk also rips a card from Darryl's hand. So, interesting to see that. Darryl opts for a Sail over the Tipo, which is more, board presence. Inks a Sail and puts out the Chernobog.
And that makes sense. He was on the play again. He wants to preserve that hand size a little bit and kind of keep as much of an advantage as he possibly can.
Yeah.
It looks like Alex is about to Baymax into Baymax.
The Baymax kind of feels bad with the Chernobog on board.
But
yeah.
He does have to sacrifice the draw for that, so
Yeah.
Might be worth it in some
Goes
sense.
for a go-go instead. I think that's the
Oh.
smarter play over the Baymax. It is evasive. It gets it out of your hand. I'm sure he has 4 more in the deck, but sometimes those go-go's, you never want to play them, you never want to ink them, and they just sit in your hand, and then they end up doing nothing. So I think sometimes playing them proactively or inking them is the right move, even though sometimes it might not feel that way. I think this is the correct way to go. It's going to get a lot of free lore. Darryl's got nothing that can challenge it, at least not right now. Although we do see the genie in hand for Darryl, and it does come down onto the board. The darling of the last set, and then seemingly fell off.
Well, that's because I think Ed had to go on and win the
Yeah.
North American Champion
With
Continentals
0 of them.
without any of them. Before you could get away with paying $25 for a foil, now you can just probably find them anywhere if you look.
Oh, for sure. And the funny part is, Ed is the one who kind of put it on the board by playing them first and winning that big Battle of the Bay tournament with the genies and no Queen's Castles. So he put it on the board and then took it right back off the board. That's the power.
And that's what I think I love about these early game tournaments, right? You got to see some creativity, see what these new cards are, then realize, man, we had it right 3 sets ago. We can just go right back and do it like we used to. That's the Ruby Amethyst way.
Right, I can't wait for Ruby Amethyst to be the best deck of the set.
They're going to run Sorcerer's Spellbook
months.
and just tap away 1 a turn for who knows how long.
Yeah, that's the answer. Just 20 turns of Sorcerer's Spellbook and we win.
4 Beat Prep, 4 Medusa, 4 Tremaine.
Crab going into the Inkwell with the Elsa coming down, removes the Baymax cleanly, doesn't have to trade. Here the Bell goes into it, Hades goes bye-bye, and right now Darryl is in the driver's seat. As long as he doesn't give insane value to this Rapunzel, which he potentially could have this turn if Alex had the Rapunzel, he goes in with the Nala into the Bell and draws 3, but I am not sure that you could necessarily play around all of that this turn. You want to get all that lore off as soon as possible.
Being able to get 4 or 5 lore off the board, especially with these aggressive decks, and no way to play a Pirate's Life or anything like that to kind of steal the game back. I think it makes the most sense, and sometimes you just got to make them have it.
Yeah.
Ooh, an interesting kit, Cloud Kicker, kicking back the genie, which you want to preserve the 2 lore, but now Darryl gets the best of both worlds and is able to replay the genie back down, drawing an extra card. Thoughts on that? I don't know. I don't know that I would have chosen the genie, but I don't know that I want to choose the Elsa either. It's a real rock and a hard place scenario.
I think I would have gone for the genie if I had to play the kit Cloud Kicker. I think that would have been the way to go. Darryl able to put the popsicle down, cycle a card, heal the Elsa immediately. He could have that big Tamatoa in his hand. Let me see if I can adjust the cameras a little bit. Maybe
to get a better view.
Get a better peek here.
And, we kind of just see, unfortunately, Alex just questing for 2 a turn when he wants to probably quest for 4 to 6 at this point. So, we see a Baloo in hand and another Moana. Probably looks like Darryl might be, showing signs of taking this game, but with aggro, all things are possible.
With aggro, all things are possible until it hits turn 10, and then it's either you win or you don't. Exactly. We'll see. Darryl draws yet another card. Sorry, what were you going to say, Garrick?
No, I was just going to say, Alex is playing an aggro deck, right? But it has no reach other than the go-go. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't know the entire deck list, but it's not playing Amethyst, so it doesn't have White Rose, it doesn't have Gathering Knowledge, it doesn't have Goat, it doesn't have Cobra. So it really just needs Go-Go to cross that finish line without questing.
He has the few copies of You Came Back to keep himself possibly to reach for another 2 to 3 lore. But that's really about it.
Okay, but the lady comes down, and Alex will be able to get 2 cards back to hand. Everything in his discard was 2 or under. But it feels like it's about to be too little too late here. Especially with that Hades questing for 3, the Genie questing for 2, and not a whole lot that Alex can do about it. Again, both of these decks, very interesting because neither really has any hard removal or widespread removal.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We do see Friends, Genie, and Fox in hand, so there is a world where he could, bounce back and get rid of this lady this turn if he wanted to with replaying the Elsa.
Ooh, didn't even think about that.
It's he would have to sing and ink and things like that, but he may just say, you know what, I'm questing out here.
Yep. And
Yeah.
It looks like he's like, whatever.
At this point,
I think that's exactly the play, because you know that your opponent doesn't have a B prep coming. There's no grab your swords on the way.
Yeah.
Why not just keep questing and keep gaining? Oh my! Oh, and then that Amimka. Yeah, this game's over.
This game is
over.
Yeah. I mean, Darryl looked him in the eyes and said, I'm the aggro now.
Look at me. I am the aggro.
Yep, and
they're
they
scooping it
it
up.
So that is game number 2 going to Darryl Donaldson, and we are getting into a fiery game number 3. And with the aggro player here on the feature match, I think we're gonna have a lot of time to fill next round, fellas. Between rounds,
we do have some packs to crack, maybe some
we could
giveaways.
crack some packs. We could do some pack rush. We have some options, but we're getting into an explosive game 3 here. That's exactly the start Darryl wants. You want to get that item, you want to get that bell, and then you just keep the pressure on from there. Was able to get the Chernobog, which trades well into the Baymax. That's when you want to catch Baymax, is early in the game. Baymax, I think, is great when you can go against decks that have these 3/3s like Sapphire Steel. If they don't have the Storm, which will obviously get rid of the Baymax cleanly, it trades into Calhoun, it trades into Smee, and it trades into Bell. So it feels pretty good in that 2 slot for sure.
Darryl does have an uphill battle ahead of him. He is going against Alex. Well, Alex is finally on the play.
Yep.
And that's going to be a tough hill to climb, and you kind of need that mulligan or altar to be perfect, right? Having the foxes, having the 1-drops that just kind of replace themselves, that's what he's hoping for.
And I will say props to Darryl for instantly after taking the first game loss, realizing what Alex's deck is about, what Alex is trying to do, and then altering for exactly what he was looking for to counter it the next game. Really shows the caliber of these players here. I'm interested also to see what Alex is going to do when the aggro deck gets to be on the play. That's always a scary proposition if you're on the draw.
Yeah, it's going to be, really depends how many 1-drops he can open with, right? Those triple 1-drop questers, and suddenly the game looks very, very different.
Yeah, if you can get the triple Daisy combo, I mean, do you even continue playing?
Hey.
Do you just scoop up the ball and leave the court? You know what I mean?
Yeah, in that case, you would need to,
turn 1 Bell, turn 2 more bells, turn 3 fox. Is that what we're talking about? A casual 8-card combo. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's take a look at Darryl's hand. He's got 2 1s. I saw a Tipo in there. And interestingly enough, take a look at Alex's hand. He's got the Prince there, the uninkable bodyguard character that can protect some of his early questers. And this is going to be big. The Pegasus, and he has the double shift line. And take a look all the way in the right side of Alex's hand, he does have the Rapunzel, so Darryl got to play around that.
What's interesting?
Is that a Perla? The 2 or 3 cost 3/2 evasive for that quest for 1 and has support?
That is that. You've been playing some Sealed.
I've been, when you get cooked by a card enough times, that and the Pascals.
3 cost.
3
cost with support and evasive. 3/2.
You don't go 2-1 and Sealed without playing Perla. I'm gonna tell you that at least.
Yeah, I had one in my deck where I went 2-1. That's for sure.
There we go. Is Perla the secret to 2 1s? We're about to find out.
Yeah, the secret is your opponent having the Snow White that can't be challenged, and there's no removal in the game other than panic.
I gotta say, I like this build that Alex is creating. I feel like with the Prince Philip, the 0/5, with the Nalas, the 0/4s, what Alex is kind of saying is, well, so many people are playing Steel now, and Sapphire Steel is going to be the deck to beat. If I have a lot of high willpower characters that I can Rapunzel away the damage, well, then that's going to be a huge advantage. So I kind of like this the idea behind Alex's deck, I'm assuming, is that.
And now that Bodyguard has evasive, right? He shifted that Pegasus, guarantee another 3 lore next turn.
Yeah, the shift Pegasus is pretty backbreaking.
Yeah, and he has a pretty good kind of next set of cards, right? Kind of punishes Darryl if Darryl decides to quest at any point in this game early on.
Yep. And definitely Shift Pegasus putting in some work here. I mean, imagine though if Alex had double Daisy instead of the Prince, how much more backbreaking this would be. I guess there is always a world where things could be worse. Perhaps what Darryl's thinking right about now. But Genie hits the board, drawing a card, and Darryl's going to quest out the Tipo because there's nothing else to do with him.
Yep.
And, it's not looking awful right now for Darryl. Darryl has some chances to play the Fox next turn if he wants to. If he has, I don't remember if he has one in hand. I think I just saw a glimpse
Crab
of one.
would be huge to crab the Genie into the
Pegasus
and remove it. That would be absolutely massive if he's able to find himself a crab. I think that's where you want to go. We'll see how threatening this looks. We could see the Perla. There she is.
There we go.
But she only quests for one. Darryl's like, what is that?
Especially that support feature, I imagine, comes a little bit in handy, though. Being able to turn those 0/4 Nalas into 3/4s.
Yeah, for sure. With the Nala and the
Prince
the
Bodyguard.
final card in his hand is a Rapunzel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. If Darryl found a crab, I'm not sure if he did. That would be, without a doubt, the best draw in his deck. But
yeah, but looking at Darryl's face, it's looking like there's no crab in hand. I assume he would have slammed that down by now.
The Fox is not bad. It gets rid of the Prince at the very least.
And that's what you need to do to hit that Bodyguard, right? You need to make sure you get rid of that early.
But you can't quest with your Genie this turn because the crackback with the Pegasus and the Perla gets rid of it.
Mm-hmm. That support. An absolute monster.
I hear there's some spicy support cards also being played in these blue steel decks out in the main hall. I may or may not have seen maybe a Scepter of Arendelle giving some character support.
Nice.
Whoa! What?
Yeah.
Are we talking about an Alice deck?
No,
all the way from Floodborn?
No, I wish. I think we're just seeing some people play that to make their Alice's, give other characters just enough attack to make your count and take people out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
In a tough position. It's just going to continue to get tougher. A Baymax comes into hand for Alex. Puts it down.
Yeah, Darryl going for the draw off of the Genie instead of going for the taking out of the Prince, and he might live to regret that here as Alex climbs up to 12, representing 4, 5, 6, 7 lore on board. Okay, and Darryl does it this turn.
I guess he's going to take out probably the Pegasus, I think would be the take off the 2 lore if you swing with both Genies. Or just take out the Perla.
Goes for the Perla. You can also get rid of the Baymax. Okay, bouncing. Nala's out. And then the last one gets rid of the Baymax. And you just leave 2 lore on the board. And hope your opponent does not have Go-Go Tamago. But I think that was the cleanest way to answer this. Thinking about whether to use the Popsicle.
To heal.
5 lore would be the situation here if... Alright, worried about the Go-Go. The Pegasus takes out the Genie regardless, and then he can heal too with the Rapunzel, which really, really hurts for Darryl, and he loses the Genie anyway.
Oh, yep. And I don't know if Darryl, he might... I can't see if there's an Elsa in hand for him to... Rapunzel coming down, taking away that damage.
Yeah.
No real good answers for that Pegasus right now.
That swing of a turn, though, for Darryl last turn was absolutely monstrous. I mean, look how many cards he was able to get off the board. I mean, and now Alex cracking back with the Rapunzel. This is a crazy match, but I can't see what Darryl's lore count is at. Is Darryl still at 0?
I'll walk over there and fix it. Hold on.
He's going to do a little quick fix. I think he might be pretty low, maybe like 2 or 3. Nothing too
Yeah.
crazy.
The unfortunate part is that Pegasus is still going to be able to quest for 2, and unless Darryl can find some evasive answers other than this genie who won't have rush or anything, it's going to be a little rough.
Yeah, it looks like he's at 3 lore right now.
3 to 12, okay.
Yeah. This is a tough spot to be in, right? Especially we see that Baloo right there kind of guaranteeing another 2 lore. So he goes up to 16 this turn. Having a hard cast the bell in this day and age.
In this economy, everything's supposed to be free in Sapphire. What's going on?
And just counting out the lore, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Baloo coming in would represent at least another 2 lore to be 6.
The good only answer he would have is probably playing the a Hades on it.
Darryl shaking his head, understanding exactly what the situation is. It just went from bad to worse. That Baloo's going to be 2 lore, and now now an upright cursed merfolk. We'll see what Darryl does, but I don't know that there are many outs.
Yeah.
Unless the Hades can take out this Baloo. I think Baloo only triggers if it's banished. Is that correct?
I think that is correct.
Let's see.
But even then, that cursed merfolk standing upright doesn't really do too much.
Okay, there goes the Baloo to 18. He does have the Elsa on the board.
Yeah, but he can't take out the Pegasus.
He can with the genie and the Elsa.
Yep.
Forgot that Elsa was played.
We're just
You're
in
right.
a tough spot right now where he can't get rid of both the Rapunzel and the merfolk.
Which is... Oh, he needed the crab. Where was the crab?
Yeah. 1 crab this game would have turned everything around.
Yeah.
And Darryl would have been
There's
able
the
to
handshake.
take out that Pegasus.
And
Ooh.
we have Alex with this spice.
Yeah, some unfortunate mistakes for Darryl, I think, in the first game cost him.
And I think that's what Darryl is saying right now, kind of in this game as well. He had to heal that genie early on to prevent that go-go, and he could have played a bell that turn. So I guess that was the branching point.